Welcome to the latest episode of the Fine City Music podcast. My name's Paul Levens, your genial host, ably assisted by my audio engineer, Stefan Melzak. Today we're talking about New Noise, which is a Norwich-based initiative to support young musicians. It comprises, amongst other things, live music events for emerging musicians up to age 25. New Noise Radio, which goes out on Future Radio and Poppyland Community Radio, which features up-and-coming musicians and interviews with up-and-coming musicians from around the Norfolk and Suffolk area. And the New Noise initiative is supported by various partners in Norwich. Again, we'll talk a bit more about, but they include the Access Creative College, which provides full-time vocational courses in music, media, games, esports and computing, and as I think a number of people in Norwich already know, its most famous alumni was Ed Sheeran. There's the Norfolk and Suffolk Music Hub, which is a group of organisations working together to create joined-up music education provision, respond to local need and fulfil the key objectives as set out in the National Plan for Music Education. And the other is Play, Produce and Promote, which provides events and opportunities for 14 to 25-year-olds in Great Yarmouth and support building a music community. That is a part of a wider charity called Freshly Grated, which is an arts charity in Great Yarmouth, which I know quite a lot about because Jackie Mackay, who's the director of it, I used to work with for many years for a previous charity in Norwich. So my guests today, to introduce them, first of all, I've got Annie Catwoman, who promotes gigs under the banner Pika 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 Pika. Piker even, and who's responsible for putting together the monthly New Noise shows, as well as a lot of other gigs in Norwich, a lot of which I go to because you specialise in loud, noisy, punky sort of music. And my other guest is Juliet Price-Thomas, who is an emerging musician. I'm going to call you sort of R&B rap, but we'll talk a bit more about your exact kind of music. But you're also the presenter of the New Noise radio show. Mm-hmm. So Annie and Juliet, welcome.
Hello. Thank you for having us.
Brilliant. Well, I'm glad you could come. Why don't you tell me in your own words what, for you, New Noise is all about?
New Noise has meant a lot of different things to me over the years. I actually played some of the stages when it was in the early days, and that was just me as a singer. And I think it's really important after the split with BBC and Stusing that we had another place that champions music, gives people that space to feel appreciated and heard. And there's so many different genres going on right now. It's really moving in so many different directions. And then to move on to be the presenter, that happened at Christmas. And instantly I was like, absolutely. It's something I'd secretly wanted to do for a little while. I've always loved radio and presenting and anything side questy like that. So it was a no-brainer really, and now I get to sit there once a month and I get to big up everyone in the scene, and it's a really, really nice feeling, and it helps me grow and it helps them grow, and I love the people that I work with, and I remember hustling years ago to even know their names, so now to be in such a big amazing community of uplifting and supporting, because it can be hard out here, but I feel so appreciated and valued, and we've all got each other's back, so it's lovely, and I hope that spreads on to the people that we get played and the people that listen to.
Yeah. Have you been involved in, did you go to the Access Creative College?
Yeah, so I'm 21 now, so I graduated high school in 2020. I was a year of the COVID, so I didn't sit my GCSEs, which actually worked out great for me. I'm dyslexic and I've always been wired a little bit differently, but I've always loved to learn. I loved school, I just didn't like school. So I worked hard with all my books, so I got better grade than really I probably would have if I sat down and did it. So I won, and I got to leave school early.
I think I might have asked you before, have you got ADHD?
Probably, and I think maybe a little bit of autism. Yeah. I'm not sure I'm 100% on the spectrum.
Oh, yeah, no, well, exactly, I have, and I struggled at school because I just found it boring.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I've always had an insatiable quest for knowledge and understanding and so on.
I'm very intellectual. I can have a very good conversation with you, and I think, especially women, we mask it a bit differently as well. They would always say you've got nice handwriting and you look a certain way, so you don't need help. But it's like, cool. Mm-hmm. All right, moving on.
Oh yeah, no, I know that is an issue about kind of traditionally ADHD's been diagnosed in terms of boys' behaviour of being disruptive and so on. Whereas, I mean, I realise now that when I was a teenager, I behaved more like girls with ADHD have, which is basically I just would stare out of the window and daydream when I was at school, sort of thing, rather than being disruptive.
Yeah, because for me, I got my dyslexia diagnosis late in year 11, and that was I had to pay for it and go because no one was really helping.
Yeah.
But that was so that the school would let me drop a language because I was ungraded. I couldn't learn this language. I tried my absolute hardest, and I was ungraded in English and I was ungraded in maths. And I wanted to go to Access, and I knew full well what I was going to do and where I was going to go. But I didn't want to risk them being like, no, sorry, mate, you have to redo this. That wasn't an option for me. So I put music on hold for a year. I really kicked up a fuss to the school. I got my official diagnosis just for dyslexia because that's the main thing the education was looking at. So I got extra time, I got a reader. And then that helped my case for me to drop a language. And then I was doing 13 hours of maths a week. I was doing all my English a week. I then got my first 4 in my maths mock, and I got my first 4 in my English mock. And then, COVID happened, and I walked away with a 5.5 in maths and English and science, which is the biggest blessing. But people didn't really want to see it. And I went to a Steiner school growing up. I didn't go to a conventional way of school most of my life. So people just thought, it's because you went to a different way of schooling that you're behind. Where maybe, but very much because of dyslexia. They rate you out of 100, right? And a lot of the questions, I'm not even out of 100. I'm so far off the scale. Yeah. They're not in the room with me.
Right.
So
because I've been starting to wonder if I'm dyslexic, because I was watching your...
They all go hand in hand.
I was watching one of the videos on your Instagram from BBC Introducing, and it said across the front Manifesta. I thought it said Manchester, and I'm like, what's she doing in Manchester?
Yeah, I've changed regions.
Sorry?
Maybe you need new glasses.
Oh, yeah.
That might have been it.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, well, no, I think it's I've noticed that more so in later life, but yeah, I'll look at something and think, I've got that. And
I do that too. My brain sees what it wants to see, and I will read that very loud and proud. Yeah, got to be... I mean, you know that, don't you? We do the radio, and sometimes I'm just saying random things. Yeah. Where have you got that from? I don't know.
So what did you do at Access?
So I did level 3 vocal artistry for 2 years, and then I went on to do AD4, so artist development level 4 for 1 year. And I'm being graduated over 2 years now. I absolutely loved it.
Yeah.
For me, growing up, I lived in London, and I always kind of had this vision that I was going to go to the Brit School. And then as I got older, that kind of like disappeared. And I thought, at 14, I'll move back to London. Didn't really work out. At 16, I moved back, and I thought, why did I do that? When I found out about what Access is, and it's the same, well, it's not better.
That was one of my questions, is because, I say I lived around SE19, SE26, and my daughter's younger half-sister went to the Brit School.
Okay, nice.
But I was kind of wondering, that was the thing I thought reading about Access. It sounds very much like the same proposition as the Brit School, basically. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. If anything, even a bigger community, because there's 5 campuses in the UK.
Yeah.
And I always describe up here as I feel like I'm a big fish in a smaller pond compared to London. But I mean, Access was great. I spent 2 years just figuring out my sound. That I've played Latitude the last 4 years now with them in some way or another. So instantly I was doing the festival circuit and doing that even before I was releasing, and I did my artist development as a time to really hone in on what I want to do properly, and then I started to release, and I got Best Solo Artist nationally out of the college. And I've achieved some amazing things with them, but do you know what? Access will give it to you if you want it.
Yeah.
All the stuff's there. You just got to take it and do something with it.
No, I mean, that's something I've said to a lot of young people. I've probably said it to Annie, but, I mean, when I was a teenager, I played in a few punk bands like a lot of people did, but there was I mean, gigs, like where I lived in suburban Manchester, there was a band collective who collectively would book town halls, village halls to hold gigs in and stuff. Mm. But there was none of the kind of support or even education or help with. I suppose it wasn't really sort of seen as a career option in a sense, sort of.
I mean, I would have been lost if Access wasn't a thing. That was the only place I ever applied for college. There was no other option for me, and I don't know what I would have done. And more importantly, what are the other people going to do? I've done it now, but what are the other kids that are coming up going to do if that disappears?
Oh, yeah, exactly, yeah.
You know, it can't just be me that was the only option for.
Yeah, yeah. I was going to ask Annie about, well, your thoughts about what New Noise is all about, and particularly your side of it, because you're promoting the gigs. Am I right that mostly it's a monthly gig at Voodoo Daddies?
Mainly monthly during
Yeah.
term times.
But there are other events.
There are other events, and we do stuff outside term time. So it's a kind of movable feast, really.
Yeah.
But the idea is that there are the 4 partner organisations. So that's me as Piker, an independent promoter. Access Creative College Norwich branch. Doesn't mean to say we won't get involved with some acts from the other.
I think that would be a great
departments.
expansion, really.
Yeah.
I mean, that might happen during some of the summer stuff, perhaps.
Yeah.
Who knows?
Yeah.
Play, Produce, Promote, which is in, as we've already said, in Great Yarmouth, where I used to help out a bit with that as well. And Norfolk and Suffolk Music Hub. So the idea is that all 4 partners all have different opportunities for people to get involved. So it isn't just about performance, it's about people can also go and run a stage or be artist liaison or help do PR and promo.
Which, I think
it's all about building the community that everybody needs to help them develop. And it's so much about networking and being nice to people, and one opportunity leads to another.
Yeah.
Even like Freshly Grated, I do a lot of work with them through, I mean, everyone's linked really, but even then it's like, I've maybe worked with them for like 3 years now, and I've gone into schools, I've done workshops, but then there's also the other thing where we've had people come up and then they've gone and done a DJ workshop. So it really does all cross over.
Yeah.
But it's just one big, you know what, there's so much happening here. Even in Yarmouth here, it's amazing. There is so much genuine stuff that kind of replaces a little bit of a youth club vibe.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. But again, as you've touched on, Annie, it's not just about being a musician. There are all sorts of activities in the music industry that can provide a career for people, you know, whether it's sound engineering or you say promoting PR and
so
all of that side of
as
things.
part of the New Noise nights, because the New Noise radio show is a companion piece to the gigs, Juliet's going to be back
hosting back on my leg
after her surgery, so that's good. So Juliet or some of the other young people that are involved will do interviews with the acts that are playing, and then we'll play those back as part of the New Noise radio show.
It's such good fun.
And then sometimes we have live tracks, and we've recently expanded the team to have more people on our listening panel for the radio show.
Access.
Yeah.
See?
And
it's all coming together.
People that are involved in the other organisations are welcome to get involved. So some of that stuff that can be done remotely, if you're on the listening panel, you don't have to go to the meeting to discuss the tracks.
Right,
you can just vote. Because
that was actually going to be one of my questions at some point, but I might as well ask it now, which is, how do you decide which tracks get played on the radio show?
Oh, in short term, we have a little, what would you call it?
Chart?
A chart, yeah, a chart. So any submissions we have, we try to have it so it's new music, so something that's been made or like submitted within the last few weeks or month at the most. And then we go through and we just have to rate them out of 10.
And that's based on our own scores, and then
we put them together.
Yeah.
And
the average dictates which of the acts gets played.
Right.
but we do also look at, are they
has
all...
to be original music as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No covers.
And then we do kind of have a look and think, have we got any R&B in this show?
Oh, yeah, I can imagine.
Have we got too much rap in this show? Not that ever really happens.
No.
But it might. That could be a good problem.
I mean, that was something I was going to get to, but you kind of stand out in terms of New Noise. Mostly it's kind of, guitar bands, guitar rock, punk, indie, metal, hardcore or what have you. But I mean, other than yourself and Macy Naya, there's not really anyone else that I've come across. That's not to say that they don't
Yeah.
exist, who are coming from a...
You should check out Izamaya.
Oh yes,
She's great.
Mm.
Isamaya.
Yep.
Should have said that with a bit more.
Yeah. So she played in last summer, I think it was.
Yeah, because were we on the same bill?
Were you?
Were we? Oh, I don't know. Oh no, I came to hers and I did her interview. There we
Yes,
go.
that was it.
Yeah, she's great though. We've played her on the International Women's Day special, and we just played her on our most recent radio show. She kicked off the episode actually. She's great from in Norwich, R&B type of vibe, but
Yeah.
soulful.
The other thing I was going to ask was, just talking about that, is because with my sort of involvement in the kind of music scene in Norwich and previously in London and stuff, is all the guitar bands, the indie punk metal bands, and I kind of know the circuits that those bands need to kind of get onto to kind of progress. But I've got no idea when it comes to acts like yourself or Macy, sort of what the kind of
that's
pathway is.
what I actually found really hard. And I mean, I can only speak so much for my group of people, but I feel like that's something we've worked incredibly hard on over the last four years, maybe 5 years. For example, when we were at college, I didn't fit in any of these boxes, but I still wanted to play the gigs, right?
Yeah.
And me and my good friend Imi, we started up as a class, a thing called Midsummer. We were then putting on our own events, and then Imi kind of took that on as a whole job role. And we were then playing people like myself, Izamaya, Sleep's Cousin, Liu. We were really trying to put on more events that was very much more hip-hop, R&B, rap, because there just wasn't a scene for it. And I really do feel over the last few years there is so much more traction. I mean, we've got El Faye in the scene.
Oh, it's actually Sabuku, is that how you pronounce it?
Yeah, we've got
I've seen
Sabuku
him.
going
Yes,
on.
He's great, yeah.
Yeah, he is great. He actually produced Manifesta.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The
yeah.
card you've got there.
Yeah,
So.
I mean, I have a very long list of people I'd like to get on this podcast, and he's on it. But I mean, it might take a long time till I get to it.
Yeah.
Work through the list, but yeah.
But yeah, I feel like we've really, really worked hard to try and create a bit of space for that. And I feel like there's probably other people behind the scenes that have tried to do that too. But I feel like we're getting somewhere. Because that is something that I find really difficult here, is actually to get booked.
Yeah.
I know people like it. It's not. It's not really as
well.
common.
I was going to say, because the other thing I've noticed, this probably might not stand. Well, quite a few of the things I say might not end up in the podcast. Because one thing that always disappointed me after I moved up. I mean, I love Norwich and the music scene, but the one thing that it's sort of lacking is sludge stroke stoner metal. But you did put on the Slowmatics recently. Was it one of your gigs? No, it wasn't one of your gigs.
No, I'm afraid not.
Oh,
I was working that gig.
Oh, that's why I thought it was one of
Because
your
I work
gigs.
in Voodoo's as well as promote there.
Oh, I hadn't realised
Yeah.
that. Yeah. So what do you do at Voodoo's then?
Well, it's either venue rep or it's called box office, but it's basically people are now welcomed into Voodoo's by security on London Street. They take the tickets. Give out the wristbands. I then check the wristbands and make sure people aren't taking glassware downstairs.
Right. Yes.
To the venue. So
yeah. I thought you only did that for the gigs you were putting on. I didn't realise.
no, I don't do that many gigs.
You'd be so stressed though if
I
you put on the
know.
whole gig and then did the whole tour.
Exactly. So, but yeah, the thing about you will find sludge and stoner rock. I think maybe you just need to do a bit more digging.
Possibly. Yeah. Yeah.
But the thing about the new noise bills is they are deliberately eclectic. It is always a mixed genre bill. Sometimes you might have two acts that are of a similar kind of persuasion.
But then then it's purposely done, and the next month
Yeah.
it'll be something completely different.
Well, I mean, I've been to a few of the new noise gigs because I mean, I've always, ever since I first started listening to music, I'm more interested in listening to up and coming artists than
the
going and seeing
grassroots.
established people. Yeah. And no, I think they're great. The new noise gigs, and that, you know, it's because it's opportunities that.
Yeah, and it's a safe place for people to come and know how to work a stage. We've had some conversations with the sound engineer, and we were like, the band shouldn't have left all their pedals and stuff. But we were like, this is great, because this is a place where you safely can be told and not shouted at. And not,
yes.
Do you know what I mean?
Yes, exactly.
You can only get taught so much. You have to learn it the hard way
and
in a safe way.
Because the gigs are also all age audience-wise. Is it 14 upwards?
It's any age. Anybody under the age of 18 needs to be accompanied by a responsible adult aged 18 plus. So our next New Noise gig, which is on the 6th of May, the drummer is 11.
Right.
In one of the bands in Silhouettes, and it's his brother's 15th birthday, and his brother is the guitarist and singer in the band. And it's, you know, Voodoo's is a welcoming atmosphere, as Juliet said. Everybody's looking out for everybody else, and it's just really nice that people feel that they can bring younger members of the family with them, so everybody can enjoy it.
I mean, we even had someone down there in a wheelchair.
Yes.
That was amazing.
That's
anyone.
That is DJ
Can make it
Orlo,
possible.
who is playing our next gig.
Sick.
So he's from Access.
Sick.
So we've got a DJ.
Yeah.
We've got Silhouettes, who, let me tell you this, describe their heart-hitting melodic vibe as post-grunge pop melody, thanks to a range of influences that include the Beatles to Slipknot.
Right.
Come on, you've got to come and hear that, surely.
Well, as somebody who likes most music genres that are called post, whether it's post-rock, post-metal, post anything, The only thing I wonder is what comes after post-metal or post-rock. You know?
Exactly. Who knows? And then we've got Alice Lilly, who...
Oh, talk to me about her. You tell me about her.
You know about
I
Alice
know, I
Lilly.
want to hear it again.
You know.
I want to hear it again.
So, Alice Lilly connects with audiences through her heartfelt lyricism and soulful melodies. And she's got her full band playing with her when she plays... at New Noise.
Seriously not going to want to miss that. Wow.
She describes her sound as pop-tinged neo-soul that's both contemporary and timeless.
Yes.
And then headlining, we've got Gourds. Oh, sorry.
Oh.
Do that drum roll again. Headlining, we've got Gourds, who are part of the Play, Produce, Promote collect. They formed through Play, Produce, Promote. And two of them are current students at Access as well, and they play gritty riffs, laid back psychedelic grooves and heavy halftime drops to keep listeners hooked on their eclectic songbook of unpredictable anthems. And you will want to get involved with that, Paul. Mickey, who's the lead singer, will be out in the audience, and he'll be enchanting you with his very cheeky lyrics.
Well, I was going to say, I mean, that's partly what excites me about watching young bands is partly it's the energy. But also, before this morning, I was just looking at Amoret, who are one of the bands who've been through the New Noise process. They've just put out a video, like a short documentary video. But it's just like, I feel excited for them about how excited they are about the journey that they're embarking on, kind of thing.
Incredible. So... I don't know if this is a good time to mention this or not.
Oh, yes, mention it.
You can just edit it in wherever you want.
Oh, well, it doesn't have to. I mean, I write my notes.
Follow any.
Yeah, no, I write my notes with an idea of how I'm going to go, but it all ends up going all over the place. And it's really a case of I just have notes to make sure we don't forget anything important.
Okay. So, very excitingly, Amoret won the best band at the New Noise Battle of the Bands.
I saw that today on the internet.
And Ronan, who you will know from being an amazing solo artist who's playing all over the world, including in LA.
Is he? I didn't realise that. I mean, I've seen him, was it the Norwich Arts Centre or was it the Spiegel tent one a few years ago?
Quite possibly.
You know, it was a BBC introducing night in the Spiegel tent as part of the Norfolk Norwich. I think you might have seen him there, actually,
Quite possibly. So, and he won the best solo artist.
Yeah.
So the there's the New Noise Battle of the Bands happening again at the Royal Norfolk Show this year.
I noticed that this morning.
Excellent.
I was about to ask you about
Yeah.
that. Yes, that Royal Norfolk Show, Battle of the Bands. It's hosted by. Am I right? It's the Norfolk and Suffolk Music Hub.
It is, yes.
And so, will that just be? That was my question in terms of if I want to come along and watch it.
Mm-hmm.
Is it just a one session at one particular point on one of the days of the show, or is it sort of replicated each day or something?
No, the Battle of the Bands is on the Thursday, which is the last Thursday in June, which I think this year is the 20th.
It's the 20-something.
Or 27th.
Yeah.
And there's whether we are having any new noise bands playing on the first day, which is what we did last year when Juliet performed.
I came and performed. You know, it was in the little woods bit.
Beautiful
I
stage.
was so impressed with the stage as well.
Because there was a couple of years ago, and I can't remember who it was on social media, who played at the Royal Norfolk Show and was very unimpressed with the way she'd been treated, and by the organisers and so on.
Oh.
But I don't think this was part of New Noise.
No,
this is just because they've got music stages throughout.
We do things differently.
Yeah.
It probably does get a bit crazy going on in that middle bit of the place.
Yeah, so as I understand it, Norfolk and Suffolk Music Hub is going to have 4 stages again at the Royal Norfolk Show. So they're running around all day, just running these various stages, and we had the stage in the woods, which is where it was last year, had the New Noise banner behind, and it was called the New Noise.
It was, proper profesh.
Yep.
Love that.
So, Royal Norfolk Show is
sorry.
Wednesday the 25th and Thursday the 26th of June. And the 26th of June is the Battle of the Bands, and there are going to be 15 acts.
15?
So
15
Oh, so
acts
that's gonna-
competing. So there's going to be a best solo artist and a best band again.
And will they all be linear on one stage over a period of a few hours?
Yes,
Or are they dotted around different
on
stages?
They'll be on that one stage. If it's the same as last year, they'll be on that one stage.
That makes sense, doesn't it?
And we will have some professional music judges. So last year it was a guy called Mark Delata, who is a composer, and Duncan from Blue.
Oh, right, yes.
Yeah. And
Is he from Norfolk by chance?
no, I think he's from Essex.
Right.
Close enough.
Yeah.
But yeah, so they both made notes during the performances, and they gave feedback to all of the acts.
Nice.
And it was really nice because
So
it's
valuable
all positive feedback.
Yeah.
And last year just happened to be the day that Prince Edward was at the Royal Norfolk Show, and he presented the prizes.
Oh, right. Yeah.
So
Which
that
one's Prince Edward?
he's the youngest of
The Queen's children.
He is now the Duke
Charles,
of
Andrew and
Edinburgh.
Edward were the Queen's 3 children. So
God,
he's the youngest
yeah.
one. So
And
he's
hang on, Princess Anne.
Oh, well, she would have done. It's horses.
Yeah.
Horsey events. She'll always be at them. Yeah.
Oh, that's so cool. He did that.
Yes, again, he's
Don't hear
really
about
into
him as much,
performance.
do you?
He did a lot of theatre stuff,
Love that.
and he also supports young people. So
Well, big up to
that
you
was-
then.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so that was good.
Yeah. Because
Try to top that this year.
Yeah, exactly.
one of the questions I was going to ask is, how does a band get onto the bill set a New Noise gig? Are they ones that have come through the various things, whether it's Access or Play, Promote, Produce and things like that? Or could any
It's really varied.
if a bunch of teenagers form a bedroom band tomorrow and have a few songs to play, they could come and play one of the gigs?
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, speaking, because we love it when someone randomly comes up and asks, especially when you come to a New Noise gig. We've had that happen a lot now. And just be like, yo, we do this, we want to play. I know you guys really like to check them out live at least once before, just to see how it's going. But we also
it wouldn't
get
do any...
DMs on Instagram a lot.
Yeah, it wouldn't do anyone a favour to put them on a stage when they're not
No.
ready for it.
No, exactly.
No.
And they have to do. So the first 2 acts on play 20 minutes each.
You can have one cover.
Yeah, one cover. and that applies to everybody that's
Oh,
playing.
right,
No
yeah.
more than one cover. So they have to have that. And then the demo they send has to be up to date, obviously, current lineup. And they can send either an audio or a visual thing. And we do try to offer feedback and give people
Yeah.
opportunities.
And also, I feel like it's also got in the back of our mind. I know I've always had this with other things. You can only do something so many times, right? So you want to try and pick the best time for that person. Because if someone came up today, well, it's like, well, we could put you on now, but we can't put you then on in 6 months when you might want to be in a better place.
Yeah.
But yeah, Instagram's a great place to be reached out on as well. But then we've had a lot of people like me. I mean, I played it through Access, and we've had people play it through Freshly Grated and so. But there is no way to do it. The wonkier you ask us, I think probably the better.
Yep. Yeah, so Jackals.
Jackels.
Oh, is that how you say it?
Yes.
Yes.
We
That's
think that's
another. That's another name I got stuck on loop on. But yeah, and I interviewed them and I did ask Jackels, but then it kind of just sounded like, oh no, I was going Jackels.
Yeah.
So they contacted
Jackels.
us, New Noise. Did they come through our email, newnoisenorfolk@gmail.com?
Yeah.
Or did they come through Instagram? Can't remember, but they they said, oh, we've got our debut album coming out at the end of January. And their first single we actually played on New Noise Radio last year, and we really liked it. So that was great because
There's some progression there.
There is. I've forgotten his name. That's really bad.
Jake,
who is the lead singer from Jackals. He is at Newer studying fashion. NUA, yeah.
I say NUA. Do you say Newer?
I say Newer.
Do you?
Yeah. Well, and it's the same thing. I know what you mean.
Clara
I know what you mean.
Oh no, I do. Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
But I've never heard anyone call it Newer before.
Haven't
So I
you?
say NUA.
Oh God.
Yes.
Yeah, Clara the bassist was on my AD4 for a little while.
Yeah.
So yeah, she's the galley of the group.
Right.
Yeah. So we gave them a gig because they sent us their demo album.
Yeah.
And it was longer than 20 minutes, but they decided which one they wanted to play, and that was one of their first. I think that was their first gig, wasn't it?
Proper gig,
First proper gig, and it was brilliant.
And we made a big fuss about that. That's another thing. I mean, a personal massive highlight for me is on the last episode. Is his name Tom?
Tom Arbin.
Tom Arbin, yeah. 16 years old, and we played his song, and that was his first ever radio play. And, I was the person that did that, and I remember how important it was for me. And I think if we can just continue to give space for these really important milestones, because I feel like when you're in the music industry, it's really easy for it kind of just to get brushed over, or your friends like it but they're not that interested. And these are massive moments that deserve recognition, and I think that's what New Noise is doing. If it's your first gig, everyone's going to be like, wait, it's your first gig tonight.
Yeah.
That's what's
yeah,
also
exactly.
important.
Like I say, I'm excited for their excitement. Of that
Yeah,
sort of
definitely.
thing. Yeah, because
Tom's somebody that's come through Play, Produce, Promote. So I was helping out a few of the open mic sessions that I did a couple of years ago when Tom first started playing them. And also as part of the New Noise thing, we decide on the local playlist for future radio. So that'll be some of the tracks that we play on our show, and then some other tracks that come in through Future Radio's own uploader that... so there's a bit of a difference. So Tom is also on that list, and he's the only person this month that was on both the radio show and
Yeah, which is amazing.
The
And
New
again,
Noise
16.
Yeah. Well, I was going to say also, because I know she's done New Noise, Jen, she calls herself.
Jen, yes.
'Cause she, Alison, who owns the house, and Stefan, who's her partner, was it 3 or 4 years ago now? It was Alison's 60th birthday in the courtyard over at the Merchant's house. Is that the right? And basically it was a jazz quartet. Stefan was playing piano. She was playing guitar, and she's 13 years old and she's just improvising
We
jazz
love her.
guitar.
Absolutely amazing.
It's just
Yeah.
just phenomenal kind of
Yeah.
talent, really. Yeah,
And I didn't see her then, but it's only got better. I
yeah,
can say that for free.
yeah. Well, because the other thing is, there is a sort of there's a growing. I would say she's more of a jazz singer than a pop singer, in the sort of Madeleine Peyrou kind of tradition. And have you come across an artist called, I think she's called Lau Frey? She's Korean Icelandic. She's a jazz
quite
singer.
niche for
Sounds
me.
interesting.
But
Yeah,
she's
I wish
actually-
I knew.
Yeah, she's not that big here, but she's huge in other parts of the world. And again, it's very much a sort of a jazz sort of style of singing. And what I'm getting at is there seems to be a kind of a growth of that sort of music, and young
Yeah,
people
it's
kind
only
of
a matter of
relating
time
to-
before a jazz bar pops up here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
Well, there
Is
are
there
jazz,
one?
there are jazz clubs at Voodoo's.
Yeah, you know what I mean, though. But do they put the tables down and stuff?
I don't know. I'm not sure.
Because that seems like a lot of effort. I take that back, doing that. All them down them stairs. But you know what I mean? I see a little stage with a red thing behind with a mic, and you're all sat there and you're whining and you're dining.
Yeah, which is sort of typical what you'd expect from a jazz
Yeah.
club
Yeah.
sort of thing. Yeah, no, I've not been to any of those jazz nights at Voodoo's yet.
And I think big up to Voodoo's, because they really do a gorgeous night, a mass amount of different nights.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, well, I haven't got the time, the energy, or the money, but I could,
No, literally.
I'd be quite happy any night I went to Voodoo's
Mm-hmm.
that I'm going to see something worth seeing, sort of thing. Or as I've said to people who end up shelling out 250 quid for Oasis tickets. Well, that's 25
Oh,
nights
God,
at Voodoo
yeah.
Daddy's.
Absolutely, yes.
Yeah.
And I'd rather have that than watching an overrated Beatles tribute act.
Oh, I know. It's
Yeah,
always,
well said. Me too.
always at the back as well. Like, there you get a personal experience. It's really nice.
Yeah, well, yeah, exactly. And it's the fact that musicians are in the crowd and you can get chatting to them, and it's just it's a whole different thing to
Actually
big
feel
gigs.
human.
Yes,
Have a bit of
yes.
interaction.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I tell you what, I'll move on and talk just a little bit. I mean, we've sort of touched on it, but I was interested in talking about both of your own sort of musical interests and stuff like that. Well, I was going to read a quote to start with, Juliet,
I'm
which
ready.
says, with her powerful, soulful, unique vocals, Juliet cleverly blends her emotive spoken word lyrics with her upbeat, captivating hooks. Throughout her younger years, Dolly Parton played a huge part in Juliet's musical performance. She draws accents from more modern artists like Kay Tempest, Little Sims and Ray, fusing sounds like Afrobeats, R&B, pop and jazz. Juliet's music sure isn't far from diverse. Does that sound like what you think you're doing?
Yeah, I think for me, I've always struggled when it comes to putting myself in a box or even saying what I am.
Oh, well, I think it's in some ways it's unfair to ask an artist to tell you what their genre of music is. It's for the journalists
I
and the
hear you,
observers
though.
and commentators, sort of thing. Yeah.
But yeah, no, I feel like that is the best way. If you don't know me, that'd probably make sense. But yeah, bottom line is I don't stick to one thing.
Yeah.
And I even did my dissertation on it in college because my first single I released was Manifesto, which I'd say is quite R&B.
Yeah.
Then I did a 4-minute and 20-minute long non-tempo spoken word piece. And then I did a pop song.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I did my whole dissertation on how does that make you as an audience feel? Am I losing you? Does that jar you? And I actually found people could hear it was me and they quite enjoyed it.
Yeah.
And yeah, I just really then fell into the fact that I've never been able to sing karaoke. I've never been able to do covers. I found the writing journey quite challenging to start off with because I wasn't feeling like I could express myself. And then I really started to fall into the fact that actually I wanted to rap for a long time. I didn't think I could, but I can now. And I've let whatever was holding me back. So I feel really proud that sometimes I sing and sometimes I rap and sometimes I'm doing spoken word. And I love the fact that I put them all together.
Oh, yeah.
So
yeah.
I feel like, yeah, if anything, that it's hard writing bios. That's why you got to get someone else
Yeah.
to do it. But I feel like I do resonate with that.
Yeah.
And
Because I was also going to ask, because, well, as people would guess from your accent, you're not native to
No.
Norfolk. But I'm also guessing you've got a track called X44. So
Yeah.
does that mean you live in Cromer, Sheringham?
yeah, I live that ways, and I wrote it on the bus.
Yeah, well,
As
I kind of
obviously
guessed that. Well,
But yeah.
that was kind of one of my questions, was sort of how much of what you're kind of singing about, or what your artistry about, how much of it comes out of South London and how much of it's from North Norfolk coast sort of thing.
What I write about.
Yeah.
Mixture. A lot of my trauma actually comes from the seaside town, not London.
Does it? Yeah.
Yeah, horrible time for me.
Is that because you've come as an outsider?
Yeah. I mean, they were racist to me, and I'm white.
Right,
And I can't
yeah.
imagine how somebody would feel, and how that's the main point. I feel even bad saying that, because that people going through that every single day. But that was the point. I was getting told to go back home when I started. So I moved up year 5. I was getting jumped, spat on. All throughout high school, I got bullied the whole time. I nearly had restraining orders on people. I had the whole girls' toilets graffitied. I'd get followed home. I'd get abused, like all these things. And then I underwent sexual assault and rape by some boys in the local town. And I was, 15, 16? I was still in high school. And it's just such small town mentality. And I'm so free to be gone from it.
Yeah.
So, moving from London...
I didn't realise that sort of life in Norfolk towns was...
I don't know if
quite
it's just
that
because I was
traumatic,
different. I would walk down the corridor and they'd be like, and it's like, well, yeah, duh, I say it differently to you.
Yeah.
Or I'd wear my hair in a bun and they'd be like, that's disgusting. Well, you're wearing it like that next year, aren't you? You're just a little bit behind.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I think, if anything, they were probably a little bit threatened because I held a good conversation and I was the person that sang and I was the person that did musical theatre. And I wanted to be on school council. I wanted to be the person representing school. Anything. I was doing anything. And I don't think people like that.
Yeah.
In year 9, I met my English teacher that moved here from somewhere else. And she didn't get accepted by her fellow teachers or whatever. So we just used to eat lunch together in her classroom. And do you know what? That was my little sanctuary. But like I said to you earlier, school for me... I actually enjoyed learning. So I went there. I didn't let the bullying get to me. I just put my head down. You guys can all get on with whatever you want to do and I'll get my grades and I'm moving on and I'm out of here. The first song I ever wrote, I don't know if you remember it, Green Light. Yeah. It's a song called Green Light and I wrote it and it is literally about the fact that I know I've got so many green lights and there's nothing else I'm doing. You're all trying to stop me getting my green light, right? Mm-hmm. And I'll have to show it to you one day, but it's literally me at a younger time writing about how horrible it was to be in such a small town. But on the flip side, in London, a different kettle of fish. I mean, I lived on a council estate where people would get raped, murdered, decapitated. There was gangs, violence, cuckoos, like all of it. But there was a community and there was culture and there was an understanding. And then, so the only thing up here offered was I could go out to the park at 7 o'clock and my dad didn't have to worry. Yeah. And I had a bit more freedom, but mentally a lot more damning, I think. Although I think I probably would have been mentally damned if I stayed there anyway, but...
Oh, yeah. Well, I was going to say, I mean, I think I can relate to that in some sense, because when I was 11, we moved to Glasgow, and I had the worst 4 years of school. You know, I was bullied horrendously because I was the only English kid in the school. And in hindsight, I'd say it was character building in a sense. That, well, I mean, you know, having grown up in sort of middle class suburbia and suddenly going to school on Clydeside, where most of the kids in the school's dads were unemployed and stuff like that. Yeah, you know, I saw a different side of the world, sort of, and you know, different understanding. But yeah, I can sympathise with that. So just being an outsider and what the...
Yeah, I mean, when I was in year 4, I went to like I said, I did Steiner School, but then I went into mainstream in year 4, jumped from halfway through year 2 to year 4, and I went to one in Elephant and Castle. I was the only white-skinned, period. I didn't get bullied once. I was loved, I was accepted, I had the best time. And I think, wow, if I could literally go from being the polar opposite to everyone looks wise. No one even batted an eyelid what I looked like. And I've moved up here and I'm the exact same colour skin as you and I have the same roots as you, but you don't claim me. I'm glad I'm not from here, mate. Like, I'm keeping my accent. I'm not claiming this energy. But I think that's what's hard is kids, you're not born like that. You're taught that, right? So you've clearly been taught to think that.
Yeah.
Because my best friend Jemima, she was Congolese. Like, she didn't look at me any differently, and we were literally yin and yang, dark and white.
Yeah.
Not even one difference of how we looked at each other. So yeah, I don't know. I feel like people get threatened, and it's very cliquey.
Yeah. But I was going to say that the one thing I took from I've had your music on repeat all day today.
Love that.
But the one thing that I kind of
Hopefully
come
on
away
Spotify.
with is one thing I come away with is that you're a strong, independent woman who knows where they're going in life and what they want and how to get there, and isn't going to be put off, distracted, or undermined or anything
Preach
else
to
by
that.
other people.
Yeah.
Particularly the tune I particularly liked was "Bound," which I thought was almost like a personal manifesto of
Yeah, so
who you are and where
and the
you've come
story
from and where you're going
behind
to. Yeah.
I'd wrote them, so that was unedited, right? We added the chorus bit, so I am stronger now. That came in later, but everything else, that was exactly how I wrote it that day that I was struggling. And I didn't look at it. And the same for X44, I wrote it on the bus when I was struggling and I didn't look at it. And then Richard Poynton, who was my college tutor, absolutely love that man. He clocked I was rapping a lot more. He was like, "Oh, you send me something tonight. I've got this non-tempo pianist. We have to do something." And I was like, I've got nothing. So I went in my songbook and was like, oh, I have this. And then, yeah, before you know it, I was telling my trauma that I'd kept secret in this really strong poem. And I thought, yeah, this was the only way it was going to happen, because it happened for a reason. I didn't choose to let that out. And it just all fell into place, and I found this love for spoken word, and it set me free. And I think the most important thing I've found is I go and teach songwriting workshops.
Right.
And I made the decision to do it in front of these kids, because I don't feel like it's explicit enough that I am in your face saying something bad happened. But it's more subconscious. And I've had like these young girls in like year 8, 13, 14 cry and give me a hug and say I've gone through the exact same thing and I needed that. And I'm like, wow, that is something else, because they were words of a horrible, horrible place for me that were unedited. And I had no intent of sharing them, and I'm so glad that I did. And it all came out like this. But, maybe I would have done it later in life, but if it wasn't for Richard Poynton doing that, it wouldn't have all happened. And, I own it, and I'm so proud of them. And it's really nice to hear people like yourself hear the message, see the message. Actually, at the Norfolk show, when I performed on New Noise stage, there was this older middle-aged gentleman, proper rough looking, not rough as in like rough, just like build up like way. And he was obviously leaving, and he stopped in the trees and he watched my whole set, and he came up to me afterwards and was like, I wasn't being a creep, I was like watching your song, and he heard me play Bound, and he said he'd just gone for a breakup or something, and it really touched him, and he was crying, and he gave me a hug, and this was a full-grown man that had been touched by the words that I was saying. He was like, mental health matters so much, and it was freeing. And I was like, that is amazing, because,
well, I think
just touched somebody.
That's why anyone wants to be an artist of any sort, whether it's musical or visual arts or something, is that you do something that reaches other people.
Yeah,
And you're
definitely.
You're kind of giving people an insight into not just your life, but their lives in a way that they've not recognised, and it's only by listening to a song that you
I
suddenly
feel like we
realise
go through.
that,
I go through things, and I write about it so that other people can relate. Because my lyrics, I've never been a commercial writer where I'm like, I'm going to go in a session today and I'm going to write a pop banger about, I don't know, dancing a field. I can't do that. Mine are always being quite deep in or subliminal in one way or another, and they all just represent what I go through in life. And Juliet is my name, and that's where I go under it as an artist, because I am telling you my life stories. And I feel like that's why people like it a little bit more, because you're like, I feel the same.
And you're lucky to have a first name that there isn't yet an artist just called Juliet.
Yeah, I mean, there probably is, but not well known enough that I have to compete.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I love my name. Shout out to mum and dad for that. My dad actually named me Juliet. But yeah, I love it. So I very much embody an artist. This is me. I don't go home and clock off. Like, this has been me since I was born.
Oh, it's not.
So.
Oh, well, no, because I mean, being an artist, whether it's being a musical artist or a visual artist or a poet or something like that, it's not like a job. It's just your way of being.
Yeah,
It
my
is,
expression, my form of identity.
Yeah.
Keeps me sane.
Absolutely. First time I met you and Imi at Access, there was an industry day.
Yeah.
Wasn't there? I was going in and I was being. Don't think we'd quite started Platform New Noise, which was the predecessor to New Noise then. And you and Imi came over together, and you were the second people that I saw. And as soon as you sat down, you've just been like. That's been you for the whole time that I've known you. And it's great because it's just, you know where you are. It's Juliet.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, exactly.
Look at this bundle of enthusiasm and truth teller. Yeah.
Well, I kind of imagine to some extent you've probably been performing throughout your life.
Yeah, I did dance early years, went to Battersea Ballet School when I was a little tot, and then I went to like this independent, a lady called Svetlana who was Russian, and she had a little room at Borough Market, so I just danced there for like years. And then I moved up here, did a little independent one in one of the little towns, and then I did 5 years of pantomimes at Sheringham Little Theatre.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Loved it. Oh, yeah, really got the hook for that.
Oh, no, you didn't.
Oh, yes, I did. Yeah, from year 6 to year 10. And then I decided to kind of leave my dancing and my acting aside so that I could fully focus on music.
Yeah.
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 But it's always been me. I've always been in the creative industry. I live and breathe it. And I'm looking forward to getting into my dancing a bit more. And in the future, I mean, I'm doing all this radio stuff, but I'd very much like to get into TV and movies.
Oh, yeah.
I feel like I'm just a little bit personality. Like, I feel like that is I'll end up there some way or another.
Oh, well, yeah. If you don't mind me saying that, yes, that's exactly you are. That was the impression I got when I first met you. You are a personality.
Thanks.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I was just going to sort of talk just a little bit about. I'm going to pronounce it wrong again. Pika.
Piker.
Which is a bird. Do you want to tell us? And well,
shall I?
Firstly,
I think you should.
It's a bird, but why do you have to say it 4 times?
Because that's what it is.
Yeah.
Piker, as seen on the poster.
For the gig.
Exactly. Okay, so Piker is the Latin name for the Eurasian magpie. And they're my joint favourite woodland bird with the J, just if anybody's interested. Used to be a lot of magpies in the garden at home. And they're just really smart looking, and I like the way they stride around, and they're just...
I do get you, they are cool.
Yeah.
You see a magpie in your life.
I mean, I don't know much about birds. If it's a Eurasian magpie, are there different species of magpies?
Yes. Yeah.
And are the ones that we would see around in the UK would
these
be
are
Eurasian
magpies. Yes.
Yeah.
So they're widely spread. And I wanted to call it Piker just to make it stand out. A lot of people say Pika.
I'm just thinking now the song 1 for joy, 2 for sorrow.
No. 1 for sorrow, 2 for joy.
What's 4 then?
Boy.
Yeah,
3 for a girl, 4 for a boy, 5 for silver, 6 for gold, 7 for a secret never to be told.
Right. Oh, you're doing better than me at remembering it.
And then there's some more after that.
Yeah.
But
less common seeing that many.
Yeah. Before I did Piker, I used to promote under the banner Wombat, because one wombat would have sounded stupid, and that was a collective of people. And we decided on that name. I wasn't keen on it. I wanted something a bit less, I don't know, odd. But I was really happy with it. So our logo was 2 wombats, and because I wanted to continue the sort of wildlife theme, and I loved magpies, it had to be Piker Piker,
Yeah.
Piker Piker,
It makes
with an
sense.
exclamation mark at the end.
Yes.
So it's Piker Piker, comma, Piker Piker, exclamation
Yes.
mark.
Yes.
Yeah. Do you know what? I
And-
love it. I love that.
And they make great noises. They go, ah! They make cawing noises,
Yeah.
and they're quite raucous. And also, magpies are renowned for collecting treasure.
Is that right? I didn't
Yes.
know that. Yeah.
So
like
they see something shiny, they'll
shiny.
pick it up and they'll put it in their
it in
nest.
So that's what you're doing. You're looking to pick up nuggets of gold from the young musicians of Norwich.
Well, yeah,
Young and old.
and display them.
Yes. Yeah. Because I was going to say, well, how long have you been doing promoting? And the other question is sort of why? Why does anyone want to
Why?
promote gigs?
Very good question. Well, where shall I start? So, started doing Wombat with initially a collective. There were 8 of us in total, and we all used to go to a regular once a week Monday nights at Norwich Arts Centre. It was called the Wild Club, run by my friend Barry, and then later with his mate Ollie as well. And then Barry became ill and had to stop doing it. Ollie continued for a while, and then he got too busy with work, and the Wild Club stopped being a thing. And the group of us that were friends from going to those gigs, it was like Monday night, doesn't matter who's
Right,
playing,
yeah.
you go along to the Wild Club because there'll be something
Yeah.
that you'll like from the 4 bands that are on. And then it's also a social thing.
Like that community.
Yep, exactly.
Purpose.
So once the Wild Club stopped, we started Wombat in 12th of December 2000 was our first gig.
Oh, right. So you go back, that's a long way back
Quite
then.
a way.
Because are you
yeah.
Norfolk or Norwich born and bred?
Yes.
So, yeah, you're local. Are you a music, or have you had a go at musicianship?
A recorder at school.
Free blind minds. Free blind minds. I could join you on that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's just back to a point I made
And
earlier
then-
that there are lots of ways of making a living out of music that don't involve being a musician.
Exactly.
Yes.
And then I tried scraping the violin, and that is almost as bad as the recorder, isn't it? But you managed to get into the school orchestra because everybody gets in the school orchestra. Then I wanted to try and play guitar, but the school I went to didn't do guitar because it did
Rude.
classical
Rude.
music. So, and I can't sing. I can go. That's about my extent of musicality, and I saw you covering your ears, Juliet.
Didn't. Don't make it out to the listeners. I'm like that.
So I had to do something else because I'm absolutely passionate about music,
Yes.
and because I couldn't play and I couldn't sing, I had to get involved in some way. And in the collective of Wombat, we all did various things. So I started off doing PR for that because that was sort of part of. I really
Yeah.
enjoyed writing. That was part
Were those
of
back in
my-
the days where you'd be going around Norwich posting up posters all around the town? for
We
gigs
still
and
do.
We
things?
still do that, yeah. In
Yeah.
the legal postering places. Thank you.
Only, exactly.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, and then somebody else booked the bands for the first 6 months, and then unfortunately Reese had to drop out, so I took on the band booking. But there were other people that did backdrop visuals, catering for the bands because they worked in catering daytime. We'd use the Arts Centre kitchen when we went to the Arts Centre. And then there was somebody else that organised the parties because there were people that would sleep over once I played in Norwich. So it's all about everybody acting together as a community to make this thing
Yes.
happen.
Yeah.
So Wombat, we initially did 2 gigs a month. It started off at the Ferry Boat, which was meant to be a backpackers hostel. It's next to the waterfront, just a bit further down
Oh, I
the
know what you
road
mean.
on
Yes.
King Street.
Yeah.
Always under the threat of closure when we were using it. And then we started doing some gigs at the Arts Centre. So we went from twice a month to once a month, and then less regularly. But we did it until 2014.
Oh wow, it's a good run. That
Yeah.
14-year run.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that was nice because we got to. The idea was the same principles as the way I operate Piker, is that it's bringing acts from outside Norfolk, outside the UK to Norwich and giving at least one local act a chance to be on that bill. Sometimes it's 2 acts, sometimes it's 2 acts from away and 1 local band.
Is that because I'm coming along on Saturday mainly to see Love Minus One?
Excellent.
But you've got, is it what they call SWAT?
Soot, we think. They don't really know how it's pronounced. The Dutch,
Brilliant.
the Dutch band.
Yeah.
Yes. Soot. And Slimo.
I
Yes.
love Slimo. Jack Andrews was one of my tutors.
Was he?
Yeah,
Right,
and
yes.
then he's active in the scene here,
Very
behind the
much so.
scenes and in music. Good community.
Yeah.
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 And, well, as I mentioned earlier, I mean, a lot of the Piker gigs tend to be loud, noisy, heavy, punky, metally. Is that because that's what you like, the sort of music you're into yourself?
Yes, for my own promo, I only put on bands that I like, just because it's much easier to promote it, to be enthusiastic.
Oh, yes, yeah.
Sometimes you might get, if you get a touring band, they might have a support act that you wouldn't necessarily have put on, but you have to work with it, and it's fine. But it's all about the building up of the relationship. So the idea at One Back was make sure we look after the bands properly. We feed them, we give them drinks, and we make sure they know exactly what's going on and when they're expected to be there, and you just make life easy for them. And that's the way that I try to do Piker as well. So it means that I'm still working with acts now that I've worked with before.
Because I think they're Danish, they're called Foon.
Foon,
You've had
yes.
them a couple of times, haven't
Yes.
you? I saw the first time they played, I
Yep.
think, yeah.
Yes. So they are friends with Kulk,
Right.
who were part of Sonic Youths, which was the young people's music development program I ran at Norwich Arts Centre. For
Just
its
missed
duration.
out on that, you know.
Yeah.
I came to one of your open days. No, or I came to like a night and then poof, it disappeared, and I was like, oh.
Yeah, that was
Yeah.
2014.
I would have met you then.
I know.
Yeah.
I was going to say, because, yes, I came to Norwich about 10, 11 years ago. I vaguely remember seeing adverts for a few Sonic Youth gigs when I was first here, yeah.
Oh, you should have come.
I might well have done. I can't even remember.
So you-
I've been probably well. You could probably say this even more so than me, but I've been to more gigs I've forgotten about. I mean, on average, I've probably it varies over time, but if I averaged it out, I've probably been to 2 gigs a week since I was about 16 years old. Sort
Brilliant.
Of thing.
Good work.
But there's periods like when my daughter was born, and I didn't have the time, energy, or money, or what have you. But
Allowed.
yeah, exactly, yeah. And then there was another time I was involved in in-house promotion at Brixton Windmill for a while. So
great.
I was there 4 or 5 nights a week, sort of thing. Which is how I kind of know, back to talking about the route for indie bands and bands like Magnolia, who are probably, in my time in Norwich, I think the best young band to have come out of Norwich so far since I've been here. But I mean, they're now basically got a residency at the Windmill in Brixton, which is where, if you're that sort of band, that's where you want to go and want to be, sort of.
Absolutely. I think you're right. I think it still very much is a venue that is a rite of passage.
Yes, yeah.
So bands like Jen, who I've put on, they've played Brixton Windmill a few times.
Yes.
And acts that I've put on at Wombat, like Enon, have played there as well.
Yeah.
And it's
which is, like I say, I mean, that's for those sorts of bands, that's the circuit you go on. And you're saying earlier, I don't know where the soul R&B and jazz singers kind of where they would.
Well, I'm always asking Annie. I mean, I don't ask her anymore, but no, it's not in a bad way. But I mean, for probably like 3 years, I was going, Annie, you got a gig for me? Because like you just have to, because there just isn't.
You know, I love you and your music.
It's not
Juliet.
your thing, no. No, it's not a bad thing. Like I just don't fit the genre.
Yes, yeah.
And that's so okay. There's nothing wrong with asking, but you are right. There isn't. It isn't.
Yeah.
It's
Or-
coming.
Let me
there are
put,
points.
Let me put it another way. How do you get to be an industry plant?
I don't know. No idea.
Oh, no.
Oh, actually, I do. It's all about networking.
Oh yeah, no,
Yeah.
It's a sort of rhetorical, slightly facetious question sort of thing. So yeah, I did have one question I wanted to ask you about, which I told you both about beforehand rather than drop it on you, was a recent report about, I read about it in The Guardian, a research which showed that musicians are I think 6 or 7 times more likely to commit suicide than any other profession. And my sort of first thought when I read that, my first thought was, oh, should we be encouraging young people to want to make a career in the music industry if it's so deadly? But then there are lots of other industries that are deadly and they have health and safety in place to prevent them. So yeah, I was kind of interested in your thoughts about what that says about the music industry, and perhaps what needs to be done to address it.
Would you like to go first?
Very difficult, isn't it? I mean, you want to encourage people to do things that they love and that they feel comfortable doing. And for some people, it is writing songs about their innermost feelings, and that might be the only way to get them out. But yeah, you need to have a support mechanism. That article is really interesting when it's saying about independent artists who don't have a support network that you would have had if you back in the old days when you would sign to a major label. You'd have an A&R team behind you, so you'd have somebody that was looking after your release schedule and sorting out your tours, and you'd have all of these people that you could actually speak to about things. And maybe that isn't a thing for independent artists, but you have to create your own networks if you can. And that's why I'm always an advocate of people reaching out and making their own webs of people and networks. And it's, you know, it's not what you know, it's who you know, it's who you can reach out to. If you can do that, great. But sometimes people don't want to reach out or feel they can't. It's just terrible. Mental health.
I mean, there is obviously the
system
broader
needs looking
context
at.
of mental health crisis in this country, and particularly young people and mental health, and particularly effects of lockdown and the lingering effects that's had on the psychology of young people who've grown up in fairly dystopian, sort of frightening times.
Yeah, I think I'm going to come at it from the perspective... there's so many perspectives you can come out from, but I'm going to come from an independent, a young female, all of these. And I think, actually, it could be a man as well. I think we both go in the same bracket for this question. I think it's a mixture of the pressure, what you were saying about the support system. You are now, all of a sudden, you have to get viral every 10 seconds. You have to be your stylist, your writer, your composer, still get savvy on the lawyers and your rights and how much you're, like, you should be entitled to. But then you're also supposed to put out an album maybe once a year, twice a year, but then you've still got to experience things to write the album. And, do you see what I mean? So I feel like people are just stressed and overworked, and creativity is a funny thing. It is, for a lot of people, it is an extension of you. So therefore I think people are just getting wrung dry in every area. But I feel like very commonly people that are in the creative industry are either neurodivergent or suffer more with mental health. And I think it's just because they gravitate more to each other.
Oh, I think you're right.
I don't
You know,
think somebody
musicians
came
are
into
generally
music
sort of
and got mental health. I think we're just more inclined to
and like,
gravitate.
musicians are generally quite sensitive sort of people.
Yeah,
in that
100%.
sense. Yes, you know, yeah.
And I think it does touch into the fact that there are some people that have just, you know, they've had some heavy trauma and dealt with some heavy shit. And, you know, it takes one wrong foot and suddenly you're in a pool of drugs. You can't hide that in this industry. It's everywhere.
Yeah.
And it could take one little menti bee, as they say, and overstressed, overworked, underpaid, underseen, and then you've got imposter syndrome, and then you're feeling scared, and then all of a sudden you're out Friday night and you've done a bit too much cat and coke, boom, you're dead.
Yeah.
Or I might just like do a little bit more tonight, or you've killed yourself. Do you know what I mean? I think it's very easier right now for people to go either up or really down. And not so much that support system in the middle. But I think it's a really important conversation to have. And I think at the end of the day, the people that are putting out this music, they are putting out themselves and every bit of them. So we need to hold their hand a little bit more. They're literally telling us their whole life trauma in an album, and then they've got to go and do it again. So I don't know. I think it all carries so much weight. But yeah, I don't think social media has helped at all. I think that's really ramped it up, to be honest.
Oh, sure. No, I think that's in terms of mental health generally, particularly young people's mental health. I mean, is it Australia where they're trying to ban social media for teenagers or something?
Do you know what? I'm all behind that.
Yeah.
Today, I took the step of actually removing TikTok off my phone.
Right, yeah.
I've hidden it so I can't get notifications and I can't access it just because there are going to be a few times I have to post. And I feel like downloading it and all that is a bit of a slog when I have to use it for a business. But yep, I can't find it on my phone. I can't get notifications because I just found myself doom scrolling too much. And it was like, sit on the toilet, get your TikTok out. Do this, get your TikTok out. No, mate, just be present and stand still. So I think people are like, oh, no, don't get rid of it. But you get over it, mate. You'll get over it in 10 minutes and you'll be thankful.
Yeah.
And you'll be sat here when you're 30 and you'll be going, thank you, mate. So I think 100% get rid of social media.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, certainly, because it's...
But for young minds, 100%. Even maybe adults, mate, we should all just ground ourselves, take our shoes off, go in the woods somewhere.
Yeah. But I think the thing is because, I grew up long before the internet, but people who've grown up with the internet and it's what they've known, it is going to have more of an effect on them.
Yeah, because there's a whole what we call iPad like baby generation.
Yeah.
Where
half of my friends who are my age, I've just turned 60. Half of my friends my age don't do social media at all.
Is that out of choice?
Yeah, mostly.
Not because they don't know how to, because they've got too many other good things to do.
Well, yeah. Well, what I mean is, it doesn't meet a need in their life that they need to, sort of thing. But
I think the scariest is yet to come, actually, with the kids that are just rising now.
Oh yeah. Oh no, exactly.
Because for me, we were still playing out in the block, and we were still landlines and can you come out and play? Whereas we've got a whole heap of kids that were on their iPad from like age 2. They have to eat their dinner with that iPad. Lockdown, I think, just shifted it, and it made it all a lot more acceptable.
Yeah.
But hey, everyone's doing the best they can. This isn't an attack at anybody.
Oh no, it is not. Yeah.
Doing the best we can, but my God, the best has got scoofed, and we need to realign.
Yeah. Yeah.
I guess you know that Dr. George. I've forgotten his last name. Who co-authored the piece. He also did a report a few years ago, which was really interesting. But he used to be a rapper from Norwich called Context MC.
Oh, right.
Really great.
I hadn't realised there was actually a Norwich connection to that report as well. Yes. Yeah.
Anyway, check him out. But he was signed to Sony and they did the dirty on him.
Yeah. Well, it's
I experienced all of that.
Yeah. Well, because traditionally, the music industry sucks people up, chews them up and throws them out. And
people are talking about it a lot more.
Yeah. What was the name of the guy?
Chapel Rowan. Ezra Collective. There was another artist. Miles. Someone called Miles. They all stood up actively on the stage on television and went, you can't do this. Doechii as well, other people, and they were like, you can't expect somebody to, have no qualifications because you sapped them up so early and now they don't have a job and you put them in a flat and you rely off their money and then all of a sudden you drop them and you think that they're going to be okay. No, this actual human being, and I think people forgot about that.
I mean,
you
it's
are a
the
person.
same.
We're all living once, right?
Yeah. And because I tend to think it's also the same with footballers, young footballers and football academies. I mean, of all the boys, for example, that go to the Norwich Academy, maybe one or two might make it into the first team, or only one or two will ever make it to getting a professional contract, sort of thing.
I know, it's mad, isn't it?
But
And
there's
at
no
a second, boom, done.
But those who are spat out, there's no support or
No, it's bad. It's bad.
Yeah.
But it's so refreshing to hear so many scream about it right now. It's good.
Yeah. I tell you what we'll do now, because we haven't had it on for a while anyway, but we'll do the quick fire questions bit now.
Fire, 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 fire.
Yeah. Which I say, well, I ask the question. You can take as long as you don't
As
have
long
to.
as you like.
Yes, yeah. And although it's meant to be quick fire, I'll get distracted and we'll go off
We
on
all
a
wander off
tangent
somewhere.
at some point.
It's probably
yeah.
worse as two of us as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I can probably guess the answer to the first question, which is his favourite Norwich venue. Either of you, both of you.
No fire.
Favourite Norwich.
It's very difficult.
It is. I'm thinking
Very
about
difficult.
it.
I mean, I think it depends on the gig, possibly.
Yeah. I was expecting you both to. both to say in unison, Voodoo
Well,
Daddies.
I will say Voodoo Daddies.
Yeah.
Not reluctantly. That makes it out like I'm going to restart because that
Yeah.
sounded like I will. No, I'm going to say Voodoo Daddies because it has been the most helpful to me in my career. Regards to affordable to be able to book. Had the place to perform the most, but I do think there are some other gems that don't get spoken about enough.
Yes. Yeah. Actually, I've just thought of another question. Do the bands, when they play at Voodoo's, do they get free pizza?
No.
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 Well, if they play for me, if the band is from away,
You'll sort them some din-dins.
yeah,
Aw.
Yeah.
give them some money for buyout so they can
Yeah.
buy a pizza if they want.
Oh, right,
or they
yeah.
can buy something else
Yeah.
from somewhere
Only in the
else.
sense of, I
But-
think Voodoo's is probably one of the best pizza
Well, they've
places in
started
Norwich,
selling
isn't
it after the night out, so you can
Yes.
get a big fat slice at 3 a.m.
Can you?
Yes.
I have. And it's way better than a kebab. And we all drunkenly were like, you have to keep doing this. I hope they do.
I think they will.
Well, it was well received, so.
Yeah. Excellent. Well, yeah, I love Voodoo Daddies. I love Norwich Arts Centre. Back in the day when we were doing Wombat, we used to do a free summer gig in Waterloo Park called Wombat's Waterloo Park Walkabout, and that was on in the bandstand.
Right. Oh, that's,
Yeah, I love that.
So that's pretty nice if the weather's good, which
Yeah.
most years we did it was.
yeah. Yeah.
Somewhere a bit different as well.
Do you have a favourite Norwich gig that I'm going to say gigs that you've been to?
Rather than gigs
That-
that we've been involved
Yes,
in any
yes.
way.
Yeah, just as a. Well, it could be one you're involved in anyway, but yeah, well, right, yeah, let me put it. What's your best gigging experience in Norwich? Whether that's as a performer or a spectator.
Again, too many to mention. But Young Fathers at Norwich Arts Centre, the first time they played, absolutely insane. That was, I was down the front for the first 2 songs. It was just too intense.
You can't see what she just did there, but that was intense. You relived it.
I did.
You went back there.
Amazing. Just such energy and rhythm and oh my god, yeah, just so good. That'd be one of my faves.
I'm going to come at it.
Hang on.
Go.
Little Sims at the UEA,
Oh,
but also Little Sims
I was there, that was
upstairs at the
great.
waterfront in 2015.
Oh, was that before they were? Yeah.
But oh my god, the sorry.
No, because
Yeah,
it was. I was there at the UEA, so I can oh my god you on that because it was. And that album in particular, live
Sometimes
as
I might be
well.
introvert. It's in my car
Boom,
constantly.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I'm going to say that one too.
Oh, go on.
Because it's relived me. But I also want to come at it from a bit of a different angle. I spend a lot of the time on the festival circuit.
Yeah.
So I've done a lot of work with Wild Paths and Wild Fields.
Yeah.
And Sundown Festival, which are the local ones here. So, yeah, I'd say can't believe I forgot about Little Sims. That was an insane gig. But then a big highlight for me was the 6-piece band. Oh my
Ezra
god,
Collective.
Ezra Collective.
Oh,
So,
yes, yeah.
a big highlight for me was Ezra Collective.
Yeah.
Just to see the whole of Norwich dancing like that. Well, the crowd.
Yeah.
Not the whole of Norwich, it's a bit extreme. And yeah, another big highlight for me was that same weekend seeing K Tempest.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah.
K Tempest for me.
Yeah, best believe I was
Just
front row. Managed to literally go front barrier and clock off for a little sec, and then I had the most amazing encounter meeting them later that evening. But yeah,
Oh,
that was
yeah.
an insane performance.
Yeah.
And I think Norwich needed to hear something a little bit different, so that was good.
And also K Tempest at Norwich Arts Centre in their previous incarnation. Absolutely
I bet
mind-blowing.
that's the right venue for
And
them.
that was the only time I just felt so in awe of them. I couldn't speak to them.
That's
Yes. Oh, yes.
Yeah.
I've had that. I met Cammy Thompson, who's the daughter of Richard and Linda Thompson.
Uh-huh.
I met her at the Brixton Windmill one time, and it was the only time I just lost it and just became really fangirly. It was like, I just couldn't talk to her because it was like worship sort of thing. Yeah.
That's so cute.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I shot my shot. I gave them my business card, played them my music and everything.
Yeah,
Whilst being an absolute awe.
very nice work. Needed to be
But
done.
that only happened. It was a very set thing. I took them food, and it wasn't. I wouldn't have been able to go up at the thing and be like,
Yeah.
that would have scared me. No.
Do you have a favourite Norwich act? Well, in your case, other than yourself. And you don't.
Thank you.
It doesn't have to be just one, because if somebody asked me that question myself, I'd have to name. I'd have to name a lot of people, so I didn't offend them, sort of thing.
Yeah, I can't. Well, yeah, don't wish to offend anybody.
FYI, we're not offending anybody. No
Okay,
way.
that's all right.
Right. We've done our disclaimer.
Well, my my particular musical bag, as you might have worked out, is mainly loud guitar-based bands, ideally with female or female-male alternating vocals.
Yeah.
So I'm really appreciating Femday.
Who, for those who don't know, are a punk. Are they sort of
hardcore?
I was about to say post-hardcore.
Post-punk.
Post-punk, post-hardcore.
Four-piece, fronted by Clem, who is also in Love Minus One.
Yes,
I
and is
love
also
that.
the manager at the Plough Pub,
Yes.
amongst other things. I live next door to the Plough Pub, so I know her. I chat to her now and again. So.
But
Yeah.
there are so many great acts.
Oh well, that's why I was
And
sort
I
of.
love Julia.
Oh, thanks.
And
That's
at
why I
some
was kind
point-
of, even though I was asking the
And
question.
it's going to be a great night.
It will be, I know.
Yeah.
And it's going to make wonky no sense, but make so much sense.
I know. But I know who I want you to be on a bill with, and I can't discuss that now.
Right. We will continue later.
Oh, go on. Yeah, go
No.
on.
Well, my act.
Oh, a few people have told me things on here and said, can you not include that, though? Because,
Yeah.
because we want to make an announcement about it,
Yeah.
sort of thing, yes. Sort of thing.
Who are my acts? I'm going to quickly give you a little few. Zamini Fitri, really loving at the moment. Of course, my girl is Maya. Sleep's Cousin and Liu and Elfei. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Oh, Elfei just been announced
Headliner
as...
for New Dawn.
Yeah.
I've got something very exciting about that I cannot say. I will say.
Can you say it on the radio, though? Will it be time when we record the next show?
No. It's not what you think it is.
Well, some of these, actually, most of my questions are sort of more for artists than promoters.
Fire away!
But yeah, so the next question was
You could pretend you're one.
I could,
Yeah.
couldn't I?
Well, you can
If
answer.
you was one, how would you answer it?
Oh,
Yes.
nice.
Well, yeah. So the song you wish you'd written. Yeah, somebody else's song
Oh,
that you wish you'd written. If you could have
Okay,
written any
I'm
song
not going to
ever.
overthink it. There is a song that I think is an absolute bop called "Okay, Love You" by Olivia Dean. I probably got different answers that I'd give you, but that is a song that I remember listening to
Yeah.
and just thinking, yeah, love this. Yeah.
Oh yeah, if I was asked that
But-
question, I'd have a different answer every day. So,
Yeah.
yeah, kind of. Oh, I tell you what, if you could have been in any band in history, which band would you have liked to have been in?
Oh, well, I was the non-performing member of Phil Garvey, the local Norwich-based dream pop shoegaze band.
Or were you the Bears of the band? Were you?
Not quite. I was the fairy light monitor. And
So cute.
I used to make sure that the backdrop projections happened.
Important job, that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that was loads of fun. And yeah. I don't know.
You don't have to put your hand on.
Sorry, what was your actual question,
Oh,
Paul?
the song you wish you'd
Oh, the
written.
song I wished I'd
Or
written.
a song
A
you wish you'd
song.
written.
Oh, but then I could just name some of my favourite songs, couldn't I?
Well, yeah.
Well, I'm going to say a piece, People's Faces by Kay Tempest.
Oh, God, yeah. Bloody hell.
Yeah. Meaning. I wish I wrote that song because she says everything you literally say when you're lying in bed and you're thinking to yourself. Same with Fire Smoke. Both of them hit every nail on the head and you're there like, oh, yes, that's exactly what I think.
Well, my next question, and I'll rephrase it as well for
See if
Annie.
I can
'cause
answer this one.
it was if you could open a show for any artist, who would it be? But I was going to ask for Annie if you could. Which band would you most like to promote that you've never promoted?
Right now, I would say Little Sims.
Yeah. I would say her as support when it was sometimes I might be introvert. Gone a slightly different style right now, which I love.
Yeah.
I don't think it would make sense me being support,
Yeah.
but I'd really love to be Raze.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll have to see if we can make that happen. Can
Yes,
you make
well,
that
we'll
happen?
see
Can you
what
make
we
that
can
happen?
do. Do you know what I say
fair,
about
me and
I know
Ray-
what you,
me and Ray
you
go
want.
What's the most useless talent that you've got?
I don't know
let us
what
get
mine
to-
is.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Maybe you've not got a use. All your talents are useful.
Yes,
Maybe.
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I can't do it now, but I used to do a really good impression of a baby crying.
Did you?
But I haven't whipped that one out in so long, I don't know if I'm
Yeah.
quite up to par to show you that today.
Yeah.
So maybe that.
We'll never know.
No.
No, I think you need to maybe.
Well, work it into one of your
Try.
tunes or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where did that sample come from? Me. No real life baby.
Yeah. What will it say on your gravestone?
Meow over and out. Meow over and out.
Out.
Meow over and out.
Mine's gonna be somebody has to do it, so why can't it be me? And then probably something really unhinged, and then why not put Manifester on it as well? Why not? Yeah, why not? Don't know.
Yeah.
I told you I was working up to this moment.
Yeah, yeah.
If you could change anything about Norwich, what would it be? Or maybe, or
I would. I'm
maybe
going to
not.
come from it from a young perspective.
Yeah.
The nightlife. I would like to change the feel of the clubs. Yeah, I just think it's a bit nitty sometimes in Mantra. We can do better. Sorry, Mantra. But like, Gonzo's is embodying that now.
yeah.
What Gonzo's has, I wish there was a bit more of.
Right,
Is
yes.
all I'm saying.
Yeah.
Because, you know, when I turned 18, it was like, whoa, party! And, like, the only main place I could party was at Mantra, and it was like, whop, whop! And I like a bit of drum and bass every now and again, but it was very same all the time. And then there was the gay club, great place, good vibe, but nothing was feeling dancey and movie. You want to go to dance to music. You want to enjoy different things, right? I feel like Gonzo's is giving that a bit more now. I don't know, that's the thing that came into my head. I don't have much I could change. I just wish there was a little bit more of that nicer club scene.
Yes, yeah.
With a bit more substance than just...
Yeah, I know what you mean, yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, yeah.
I'd like a better train service, please.
Oh, God, the
to where?
buses!
Where,
Did I not think
better
of the-
train service to where?
Anywhere.
Anywhere.
Anywhere. Can they be a bit cheaper too? And
Oh, yeah, well, I mean, well, you've got a train every half hour to London.
Well, I know, but
But the thing about Norwich, I would say, since moving here, is it's no problem going up and down to London, which I do
No,
quite
that's
frequently.
fine.
But going anywhere else on the train is rubbish.
yes, and the bus. I'd like to know why past 7 o'clock can I not get home until... I can't get on a bus till 10 to 11. That's prime time, guys.
So
Same
what, there's
coming...
there's nothing...
No bus. 7:20, 10:40
Yeah.
bus
Wow.
times. And then that's kind of it until... that's the last bus. There's
Yeah.
only one after. I don't know what I'm saying now. You get home like an hour and a half later because you trudge all through. But it's the same the other way, you know. Apparently, from 6 o'clock till 9, 10, nobody does anything. That's prime
Yeah.
time. That's prime travelling time. So yeah, I'd double you on that. Sort the trains out, sort the bus, get the club thing, sort out the buses and trains.
yeah, there was
Well, how did they... I've heard from people of my sort of age who grew up in Norwich and went to see lots of punk gigs with bands like The Damned and The Clash at West Runton... What is it, West Runton Pavilion?
Pavilion, yep.
How did everyone get there?
They probably walked.
Yeah. So, fun enough, I was talking to some guys that were at the Clash book launch at the Holloway last Wednesday. And they're guys that I've seen when I've been working in Voodoos. And they were talking about the gigs at the West Runton Pavilion, and two of them said, "Oh, we used to get the train there, and we'd take our tents with us,
Oh,
and
nice.
we'd either camp, even sometimes in the winter, or we'd go and sleep on the platform at
Wait for that.
yeah,
Yeah.
wait for the train." And he said that the guard there, you got to know them and let them
Yeah.
keep.
Yeah.
But yes, it was quite difficult to get back
Yeah,
from the
because that
gig.
6
Well, no,
a.m.
that's
feels
my,
close,
that-
but it
that's,
really isn't.
That's what I
isn't
found
it?
sort of strange is that this place in the middle of nowhere on the North Norfolk coast used to host some of the sort of, some of the greatest punk bands that this country's ever produced, sort of
Yeah.
thing. And how does that, how does that sort of happen if you
Yeah,
like?
I don't know,
Yeah.
a bit before my time, but it's certainly a legendary venue, and yeah, very nice.
Yeah.
Very nice.
What's the
work.
best kept secret in Norwich?
That Juliet is residing here.
Oh well, yes. That
Yeah.
I took that as read. That was obvious. That one, yes.
I actually don't know. Though we're doing a lot. We're doing it well. Because I feel like the thing is with Norfolk and Norwich specifically for the music scene is because we're in the bulge. This links back to the trains and the buses. It's a bitch to get to. And I mean, especially working in festivals, and I know you as a promoter, I'm sure you've just headbanged against this. No one wants to come here because it's just not easy to get anywhere. So yeah, I think people just forget, it's jokes on you. We're quite good to come over and visit because, you can't dot around to
Yeah, which
Cambridge light work, but
I think you're
Yeah.
saying what I would say, which is the best kept secret about Norwich is Norwich itself.
yeah, because it's just out of the way. But actually, it's not that out of the way. It just
Yeah.
transport makes it out of the way.
It is, yeah. Well, I think once people have been here, they love it.
Well, it's sort of the same point, really, which is that yes, Norwich. Well, on the other hand, do we want to encourage people to come?
Sometimes we do, yes.
Yeah,
But I'm glad we don't have a motorway. That's good.
yeah.
They used to say years ago that Norfolk was cut off on two sides by the North Sea and by British Rail on the other sides.
Yeah. It's
Yeah,
good.
yeah, brilliant. Well, I tell you what, we'll finish on just to remind people. The next New Noise gig is
Okay, so the next one is Tuesday the 6th of May, then Tuesday the 10th of June, and then we're into the summer activities. So there's the Royal Norfolk Show, including the Battle of the Bands on the 26th of June. There is the Play, Produce, Promote
they've got
a pop
some
party
at
St George's Theatre.
Yeah.
16th of May.
Yeah, I was going to say, I did
St
see an
George's
advert for it
Theatre.
today on Instagram. Yeah,
And then there is a Play, Produce, Promote takeover at the Norfolk and Norwich Festival Bandstand on the 24th of May, and that's in Chapelfield Gardens in Norwich. And they have open mics the last Saturday of every month at the Drill House in Great Yarmouth. And then we also have, in addition to the Royal Norfolk Show, Sunday the 31st of August, there is the summer session in Norwich, which I think you're doing that with the young people,
running
aren't
that.
you?
Yes.
Yes.
yes. 'Cause didn't you do one
selection.
last year?
I played it.
Yes, there was one where Jen was
Played
on
it
yourself,
same
and
day.
a few others.
Gabby.
Yeah.
So this year I'm running it.
Right, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I'll try and pop along to. The other thing I was going to say about the New Noise gigs that I've learnt from experience is that they usually sell out, so people need to get tickets in advance.
Oh yes,
Yeah,
and they are
really
only
good.
£5 plus booking fee, which is about 58p in advance, or £7 on the door.
Yeah.
Absolute bargain.
4 acts.
You can't even get a
Yes.
McDonald's for that.
Oh, yes.
Wow.
Yes. So, yes, book your tickets on the Voodoo. It's Voodoo Daddy's website. You
It
need
is,
to book tickets
yeah.
through, isn't it? Yes.
It is. Yeah, it's also on the event, so you can click through from Voodoo's website or go
Yes.
straight to Eventbrite and
Yeah.
search.
And then New Noise Radio.
New Noise Radio. So
Is it monthly?
it's monthly. It is the last Monday. Is that the best way to say it?
First broadcast is on Future Radio on the last Monday of every month.
Yeah.
And it's then repeated on the Saturday at 6 p.m.
Yeah.
And then on Poppyland Community Radio, that programme they broadcast the same content for a whole month. So the week is repeated for the whole month. So
Right.
you can hear New Noise 4 times a month
Yeah.
at 10 p.m. on a Wednesday on Poppyland.
Yeah.
And you can listen again to all of the episodes on both websites.
Yes, I was
On
going to say
demand.
I've listened to all your shows on
Aw,
Future Radio
excellent.
on catch up on the Future
Yeah.
Radio website. Yes.
And I mean, we have that linked in our bio as well on the New Noise page. But yeah, just under Future or Poppyland.
Yeah.
And it all hosted with me, Juliet Price Thomas. And yeah, I'm really excited. I'll also be there hosting the New Noise events too.
And people can hear you on Spotify.
Yes, so you can hear me on Spotify. My name is spelt like Romeo and Juliet. Just put it all in capital letters.
Yeah.
It does matter.
Yeah.
And then I've got a Big Girl website, which is julietofficial.co.uk. And I am Juliet Price Thomas on Instagram.
Yeah.
So yeah, you'll be able to find me. And I really hope if anyone's listening, you resonate or my music helps you or you just simply get it stuck in your head. Then I've done my job right.
Brilliant. Oh,
Shout
well,
out for any collabs as well.
Oh
Maybe.
yeah,
Hashtag,
any
just saying.
producers, any artists, seriously love to work with different people and network. And yeah, I think in this scene it's really important to work together. We're not in the same lane. We're not in the same competition, so let's do
Yeah.
it together. So yeah, anybody wants to collab, let me know. Let me
Yeah.
know. But thank you for having us on.
Oh no,
This has
thanks for
been
coming
the
on.
biggest
It's been
pleasure.
yeah, no, it's been excellent. Yeah, well, no, it's been absolutely fantastic.
Oh.
It's been brilliant. Yes.
New Noise Norfolk on Instagram is
Oh god,
is our main point of contact.
Yeah.